Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Let us begin with a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we want to give you thanks for this day. We thank you for the opportunity to meet and to discuss this important topic, to understand why our bodies behave the way it does and what could be the reason for some of our health concerns. And we ask that all will be made clear here. And this is our prayer in Jesus' name, amen. So we have an interesting topic all lined up for you. And there we go. Welcome, welcome, the Adventist Health Professionals Association. And we're speaking from the Trinidad chapter. There are others around the Caribbean and in other parts. And so today, Trinidad is bringing this presentation to you. Adventist Health Professionals Association, it's made up of several health individuals, health advocates, and you may be a physician, a nursing assistant, a physician assistant, a nurse practitioner, a nurse yourself, or any of those professions. Dental is included, different fields of health professionals are included, occupational therapies, naturopathic doctors, physiotherapies, and I don't know for other jurisdictions, but here in Trinidad, we have actually opened up our arms to welcome medical missionaries into our fold and our into our sphere. So it's everyone speaking and sharing on health, and wherever in the vineyard you are situated, in your churches, in your community, the goal is to reach others using health, that way to get to the heart, and asking individuals to look and learn and understand the laws of health and see how best that they can make changes where required to lead healthier lives. So health fairs are part of what we do well, but there are so many other things that we have done and can possibly continue to do to impact our societies on health. So the topic this evening is on adrenal gland fatigue, resetting your adrenals. If you do have questions, please place them in the chat. We'd be happy to respond and answer them as we take a peep in the chat and go along. However, you can also write it down, and then we would be having a time at the end for Q&A, and you can ask your questions then. So adrenal gland fatigue, let me see by some form of indication. How many of you have heard about this adrenal fatigue, that phrase, adrenal gland fatigue? How many of you? Yes? No? Just let us see. Okay, someone. Hi, Sister Brooms, welcome. No, wow. Okay, very good. So then I guess you're going to learn something new today, and that's awesome. I always love to share and help individuals to learn something new. Okay, so adrenal gland fatigue, it's pretty simple. Question, which organ in your body looks like a hat, weighs less than a coin or penny, and is responsible for giving you an adrenaline rush? Does anybody know which organ in your body looks like a hat, weighs less than a penny, and is responsible, big responsibility, to give you an adrenaline rush? Let's see any answers. Answer, guess. Can make a guess. All right. Adrenal gland. Yeah. Congratulations. Very good. That's right, Anne-Marie. Yes, adrenal gland. Got it. So we're going to be talking about the adrenal gland, and it impacts us quite a lot. Sometimes folks have pain, not able to sleep, having inflammation in their body. So what are the adrenals? It's part of your endocrine system. And so it helps with regulating your endocrine system, looks at hormones and your metabolism, your growth, development, and any areas along your reproductive system, your sexual function, sleep and mood, all those things, starting from your pituitary gland, your thyroid hormone, and your thyroid gland that produces thyroid hormone that impacts us and our health in a great way, your pancreas, testicles, and your ovaries, just to name. And there you have the adrenal gland. So the adrenal glands, they're two small glands that they sit on top of your kidneys. See them right there? Yep, like a little hat on top of your kidneys. And they have an awesome job to do. They produce hormones that particularly deals with stress and keep our fluids balanced. And these hormones are various kinds of chemical substances that tells our body what to do. And when you're stressed, when you're scared, when you get excited, your adrenal glands is helping you to feel that way of anxiety and and having you breathe faster, your heart rate increases, all of those things. So your adrenal gland, it looks nice and pretty there, but it actually has a core and an outer body of it. So in the core part of the adrenal gland carries out one set of functions, and the outer part of your adrenal gland carries another set of functions. So the core part of your adrenal gland, it's dealing with that short-term stress. It's called the adrenal medulla, and your short-term stressors will cause you to be in stress for just a short time. You know, you're thinking about someone special you're going to be meeting, and your heart starts to race. You feel the butterflies in your belly, right? Your adrenal gland from the core of it, way in its heart, is just triggering off all those nice hormones. So that's like the dopamine. But then you have that adrenaline rush, like so I have some folks with me right now, and in their countries, they don't have snakes. So when they hear, look at snake, they start to get really, frantic, as happened this morning on our walk. And so the heart starts to race, adrenaline kicks in, glucose levels are elevated. But then you have noradrenaline, and then you have dopamine. So blood pressure, heart rate, adrenaline, norepinephrine or noradrenaline, they tend to trigger those hormones that would increase your blood sugar. And I pause there because sometimes folks think, well, it's because I'm eating sugar and sweet that my sugar will go up. Stress. Stress can cause your glucose levels to increase. And you're checking your blood sugar and it is elevated. Your blood pressure as well. Your heart rate increases. And your intestinal muscles tend to relax because there's so much stress that you're under that the body is not thinking or focused on digestion and relaxation. Your breathing increases. So then you have dopamine that tends to regulate movement and emotional responses, as well as to get you excited and motivated by something that you value, you think about, and give you that drive to get up in the morning with enthusiasm to go after whatever you might be dreaming of. So the outer layer of our adrenal gland, the adrenal cortex, they tend to secrete hormones as well. And it secretes its own hormones. And those that are vital to life, they help us to deal with long-term or chronic stress and stressors in our environment. They tend to control the blood pressure. Whereas if you got really excited with an adrenaline rush, your blood pressure spike up high, your heart races, but it can't not remain like that forever. So you find that for the long-term stressors, like a child that never stops giving you problems, like a colleague that always seem to get on your nerve every day, that's long-term. So if you're under a lot of stress, it uses up a lot of energy, and you need to have hormones to deal with that. And therefore, you find that examples of long-term stressors, you're expecting to sit an exam in a couple of weeks, there's an underlying current of nervousness, of tension. You have an outstanding bill to pay at the end of the month, and today is the 25th, and you're very nervous about you're not seeing the monies yet. Your best friend moves away, and it's giving you a hard time to deal with loss. You find that debts in our close circle, be it a loved one or someone that you connected with closely, that can be long-term stress for you. And I've known of individuals where they've lost a spouse, and that triggered stress. I mean, your heart just pumps out of your chest, and you feel that immense sense of emptiness and loss, and that can be long-term, that some folks never really get over their loss. And so it would be, in the moment, a short-term stress, but then it can continue to be long-term. And so a different set of hormones kick in there. So the adrenal cortex, it will regulate your, one of the hormones, mineral low corticoids. And so they tend to regulate the water and electrolyte balance in your body. Glucocorticoids, they tend to regulate carbohydrate, protein, fat metabolism, and how we actually relate to our food in terms of its absorption in the body. And how when you eat certain foods, whether you put on weight or whether it causes you to lose weight, you find that here too, glucose production may be produced more to give you energy to continue your fights on a day-by-day basis. Inflammation is on the high, and stress can cause an inflammatory state in the body that could be shifted and regulated when individuals reduce their stress levels. Just earlier this week, we had, I have folks here at the Wellness Center, and we would usually take their blood work at the start of their arrival and at the end before they depart. And so last week, it was time for us to take some blood work for individuals, and we had that arranged. So wherever there were any disparities, we sort of sought to get those labs repeated. And so one of our guests had an elevated inflammatory marker, CRP, which, if that is not reduced, can cause some heart disease issues and so forth. So there we were looking at the start of, in the first week in August, of a CRP level of 20.5 on that was way off the charts, like about 4 times more than what was the maximum amount within the range for what it should be. It should be between 0 and 5, but she was now at 20.5. And that was on August 7th. And when we did the repeat lab work on August 21st, 14 days later, the CRP level went down to less than 5. And I was jumping up in the corridor and saying, yay, yay, yay. You know, thank God. And the stress that was now gone, reduced, not having that within her life while here at the center. The food that was different, the emphasis on walking and walking for 1 hour twice daily, morning and evening time, because we needed to have some weight reduction and so forth. Then the digestive walk, so they say, you know, like they're walking 4 times a day. And the water intake, by having at least 12 8-ounce glasses of water on a daily basis. The sleep, going to bed earlier, the happy environment, the sunlight, the sweat out in the sauna, the relaxation of the massage, the interaction with our missionaries that visited, and all of those happy things led to just in 14 days, and it could have very well been less if we had tested earlier, of a dramatic reduction in her CRP level that brought it within the range. And so even the phlebotomist, when talking to us afterward and comparing what it was, you know, asked, what did we do? And even to elevate the HDL level back and get it into a good, acceptable range for HDL. And so the CRP down and HDL up where it should be, and everything looking so beautiful, and we give God thanks. Point is that the body responds to natural remedies. Now me hear you say amen. Okay, the body responds to natural remedies, and as we come into compliance, doing what is required to help the body to have some form of normalcy, you find that it works. And I'm talking to you, well, the only kind we give, like turmeric as an anti-inflammatory tea. Turmeric, sorrel, I would have had like a mix of fennel to give it a little sweet taste, which they loved. But that was just like some simple things day by day, and it helped tremendously. And as well as doing some colon cleansing. And therefore, you know, as we seek to share even in a short while, what are some of the things that we need to correct to prevent adrenal gland fatigue, pay attention and take it seriously that you may be suffering from some of these things, and that we show you what are the symptoms and how you can reverse it. The adrenal cortex also addresses our sex hormones, estrogen and androgens, and which indicates our difference between male and female. Yes, this session is being recorded. So when glucocorticoids are released, we see the blood glucose levels rise, they increase. And therefore, okay, let's look. All right, so adrenal gland fatigue is a little bit more than the adrenal gland. It's a structure in your body, we need it. But what would make it so tired or fatigued or worn out? So it's a collection of signs and symptoms that you would experience, known as a syndrome, that results when the adrenal glands function below the necessary level. So they can trigger off hormones that would help us for growth, development, for our sex drive, and our differentiation between male and female, for dealing with your stressors, the good, exciting, happy birthday times, or the sad times when you have some loss. But what happens to you if that's firing off excessively and in close repetition? You find that those adrenal glands, they get worn out, they get tired, and you see that a whole lot of things just hang on to you and as though it stays with you. So what we need to do is to give the adrenal gland some nice TLC and allow them to do their work in a more peaceful state. So some of the symptoms, you may find that you feel it hard to get out of bed in the morning. You just want to stay in bed and don't get up. Now there's a need to lie down for most of the day, and you feel this weight upon you, on your shoulders, on your back, in your eyes, in your head. You just feel tired. There's a difficulty to break down carbohydrates, protein, and fat. So you find that you're not absorbing your food as well, and therefore you may not be having a healthy weight. Asthma, allergies, respiratory complaints, dark circles under the eye. And for a lot of ladies may have this, and this is one reason, dark circles under the eyes from adrenal gland fatigue. And then you're powdering it up. You're going and hide it up with some covering, cover it up. But it's still there, and your situation is still there. We need to get to the root cause. Dizziness, when you're moving from sitting or lying to standing, your head feels light and dizzy. Dry skin, excessive dry skin, and extreme tiredness even after you exercise, frequent urination, low sex drive, too much cortisol that increases an anti-inflammatory effect that tends to prevent your immune system from working well, and hence you're prone to getting infections, mood swings, sugar, salt, caffeine cravings, joint pain, lines on your fingernail tips. So on your fingernails, you literally pass your finger over and you could feel the ridges of lines stroking down. And this goes for your toenails as well. Loss of muscle tone, a lower back pain. Yep. And numbness in your fingers. This is quite common for a lot of people. They just feel numbness going on in their fingers, and it might even be painful in their fingers, in their toes. And then you have a poor circulation going on, weight gain, gastric ulcers, a feeling of being more alert and energetic in the evening and at night. So in the evening to the night, you think you can clean the house, wash the car, but cook food, do all kinds of things in the night, because then is when your energy level peaks up and not during the day. And we tend to feed that, sleeping all during the day and literally just giving in to staying up at night. Yeah, so question is, one of the symptoms, dark patches between the breasts. I can look up that for you. But yes, very good observation, because I have seen that, and that can correlate to some of the issues that we are seeing here. And therefore, that may very well be one. Okay, we got that for you. Excessive cortisol production. We had that already. Thinning and bruising of the skin quite easily. All right, and where you find obesity. And can take place, diabetes as mentioned before. All right, so what I'm seeing here with relation to the breast is that you may have some dark patches under the breast, well, which could very well show up in the middle area too. So if they're under, yeah, possibly. But all of that is a hormone dysregulation. when you see darkening, even increases of the body under the arms, in between the legs, in just different parts of your body, even on your knuckles, it's definitely a hormonal imbalance. Then diabetes, high blood pressure, muscle weakness, and the list goes on. Osteoporosis, excessive facial hair, definite, and this is all related to an overactive adrenal that you can have something called Cushing's syndrome. And that's, you see someone with Cushing's syndrome, they have multiple of these situations going on. Growth failure in children, impaired wound healing, increases susceptibility to infection because the immune system is lowered. You may also have an underactive adrenal gland, Addison's disease, where you suffer on the other side of the spectrum, a lower blood pressure, lower blood sugar, fatigue, weight loss, anorexia, nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, and you tend to take a very long time to recover from illness or any stressful situation, Addison's disease, underactive adrenals. Now, what would be the cause for adrenal fatigue? A relationship gone bad, a loss of a member, an unreasonable boss, a loss of a job, anything that can stress you out, financial issues and problems, sleepless nights, a new baby. Find some of our new moms really need help because the babies can be so demanding, and they need that hand and help at nighttime and at daytime so that they don't be overwhelmed. And driving in traffic could be a stressor for some. Building a home and all the runnings with your contractor. So when it comes to the diet, could we be eating our way into adrenal fatigue? Yes, if you have sugar, too much sugar, that will derange your hormones and your dopamine levels, and then you find you may feel good with a sugar item, but it doesn't play out well. A high-fat diet. So anything that comes from dairy and the byproducts or animal foods will be higher fat than what your body can handle. Excessive use of oil can constitute high-fat diets as well. So it might even be a good, nice oil like olive oil or coconut oil. It's not animal-based, but the mere fact that it is oil, it's a concentrated form of fat, and that can cause issues with your metabolism. Insufficient sleep, when folks want to stay up beyond their bedtime, you see that it can increase cortisol levels, and then you feel fatigued the next day, and it's a continuous cycle, especially if you're studying. There's a demand on you for timelines, and therefore your sleep may be compromised. Individuals who are doing gardening tend to interact with pollutants and chemicals and some of these sprays, pesticides, etc. If you're one that will be doing cleaning, you find that the interaction with those cleaning products, and as you inhale them, tend to be agents that can be poisonous to our system. And so what you find the body does, sometimes it causes you to put on weight as a buffer for the toxic environment. So some of that fat cells holds on to the toxins in order to keep your systems, your blood and your organs, to preserve them, to shield them, to help you to feel well. But as your fat cells taking it, that's why when we're seeking to lose weight, we tend not to want to do it too rapidly. Just take it gradually reduction, as well as doing cleansing at that time to clean up the body for the toxins that can be released now into your bloodstream. Chronic diseases that individuals have, as we mentioned, high blood pressure, high glucose levels, diabetes, they may be on medication for an extensive period of time. And so those medications can have side effects, and the body has to relate to those side effects. Asthma is another condition that will eventually lead to drug medication and its impact. You find that asthma individuals will work, maybe given steroids, and that can negatively impact their health, even putting a strain on the adrenal glands, because the steroids can cause your heart to race and other kinds of things. Arthritis, fibromyalgia, and parasites are others, things that could be stressful to the body. There is a thyroid connection with people with hypothyroidism tend to feel more weak and have weak adrenals that don't work well. And where you find that even your thyroid hormone production is not adequate for the body. There's a challenge in turning your T4 to T3 with an underactive thyroid gland. And if your thyroid hormone isn't working well, then it leads to other challenges within the body. You find that prolonged exposure to cold can cause adrenal gland fatigue. This is so important, especially for individuals who live in cold environments where you experience winter and your hands are constantly cold, your feet are constantly cold. There are some tropical people who work in environments where there's an air-conditioned system that is cold, and very much the same. Their body is chilled all the time, and that can lead to adrenal gland fatigue because you're always shivering, you know, and you're warming up, wearing warm clothes, and there's an overstimulation. Your adrenal gland has to trigger off all these hormones to help you to feel comfortable. And then the cholesterol levels can be elevated because of the adrenal production, excessive production of hormones. Cholesterol is also elevated due to a hormonal sort of impact. When you find that sudden cold tends to hit your adrenal gland, and your adrenal gland responds to sudden cold environments, vitamin C is reduced in the body. Individuals who work in cold spaces or live in cold places tend to wrap, there's a recommendation that you wrap your adrenals, meaning that you wear like something warm around that waistline and that covers the back region so that you don't have the adrenal glands shocked with cold. And of course, keep your feet and your hands warm. Trauma, earthquake accidents, hurricanes, tornadoes. I remember the other day I was in the US in Wisconsin, and they were expecting a tornado. That tornado was just moving from state to state to state, and it was an anxious moment looking at the news and just seeing the movement and looking at the destruction that it was causing. And so where I was, they told us we would need to go to the basement, and when the alarm sounds off, then you'd go. And so I was sitting at my desk doing some work, and my phone just started blasting off an alarm, and I jumped, and I just quickly took it off, shut down my screen, and looking to run, and they said, no, it's not that alarm. It's the one that you would hear close by within their community. Oh, I don't know why the system would do that, giving you this alert, you know, with your phone really blasting off as though it was some speaker of an alarm system right there. But that caused a big stir for me, and so that sudden, you know, of course my heart would race really fast, and all worked up, and then to calm back down. So trauma and emotional trauma, kidnap, breaking in. You enter in your home, you recognize that somebody has been here, broken into your home. You might even meet up the intruder Surgeries tend to cause a lot of inflammation through your body. That's traumatic for your body. So do you have adrenal gland? You might be wondering now, because you could associate with some of the things that we have mentioned. And there is their test, their saliva test, their blood pressure test. This one is where you can lie down and rest for 5 minutes. And while flat, you have someone help you take your blood pressure, see what reading you get. And you lie down quietly, okay? No disturbances. And then you stand up and immediately test your blood pressure again. And if the blood pressure is low, that's a problem. If it is high, that's good, because it really should be higher. You're now elevated. Your heart should pump more to get more blood up and down. However, if it is lower when you're standing than when you're lying down, your adrenals are not working properly. This is a nice, simple test that you can do. And so you may very well have an underactive adrenal. Now, how do you turn off this? We're using the faucet method, where we turn off the source. You gotta shut down the source. What is the root cause? Let's address it, find it, and turn that off. And unfortunately, many times when it is some stressor that you feel it's difficult for you to turn off, or you have no control, that can be challenging. But there's some things that we can do, and we're going to look at our diet. Is that chocolate? Oh my, yes it is. Sir, before we get to the chocolate, let's look at the harder stuff. So the flesh foods and the byproducts. Meat, beef, chicken, pork, lobster, shrimp, crab, goat, iguana, whatever might be the item. So animal foods tend to be higher. Remember, these glands tend to regulate your protein, carbohydrates, fats. So if you have an excessive amount of than what you require on a daily basis of certain types of food in the system, then and even food that can trigger inflammation in your body, then that can be stressing your adrenal gland and cause adrenal gland fatigue that can cause you to have numbness in your fingers and your toes. That can cause you to have hair growing on your face, ladies. That can cause you to be overweight or underweight, or all the list of the above. So your butter, the cheese, the milk, the ice cream. Some folks are not eating the flesh foods, sausages, hamburgers, and all of these things. They're not eating those, but they're drinking the animal milk. They're eating the cakes and the pizzas and the ice creams and all of these things. It will do the same destructive work in your body, hands down. It increases inflammation in your system. Nicotine, alcohol, vinegar. Yes, vinegar of any sort, apple cider vinegar, white vinegar, balsamic vinegar, vinaigrette, any salad dressings that has vinegar in it, they are fermented items. They can cause an inflammatory process in your body that can cause adrenal gland fatigue. Stimulants such as chocolate, soft drinks, black tea, green tea, coffee, and the list goes on. So those are, what about sugar? Sugar tends to shock the adrenal cortex and cause you to crave more sugar. It's a hormone thing that you eat one sweet and you feel you need to eat another and another and another. And tend to look for sugar. You may not see the word sugar, but you might see dextrose, dextrin, lactose, maltose, and the list goes on. And then you find that natural sweetener, such as high fructose corn syrup and so forth. All of those tend to take a toll. Excessive salt intake. Salt, we need salt, the body needs salt, your electrolytes needs to be salted with a good kind of salt. And for, depending where you are, you may have Celtic, we have the pink Himalayan sea salt that's really phenomenal. It has all of the 84 trace minerals, including iodine. Sometimes you see Celtic and it says it does not have iodine. That's a problem because your iodine in your salt helps to address your thyroid hormones. And therefore, you want to have a salt that will give you iodine on a daily basis. Where do you get your iodine from? Especially if you're not eating fish or seaweed, vegetables, you can get it in your sea salt that has iodine. Make sure it has iodine in it. Now, some flour foods made from flour that we have today, that's not an ancient grain. Flour that's like a regular flour tends to have a higher concentration of gluten that can be problematic for some individuals. It's found in wheat, rye, barley, spelt, oats. And you're going to test yourself. Sometimes you may have a headache when you eat a bread or a pastry item. And if you don't eat any of that, you don't have a headache, you don't have a pain in your joint, and you're okay. But when you eat any of these flour items, it comes back. So that is an indicator that it's causing some kind of inflammation in your system. Leave it alone. Give it a break. Don't be inflaming your body. You're just pushing against nature and the natural way in which your body is operating at that time. You may be able to give it a break and come back later on and have a meal with a flour item one time or consecutively or not at all. So noodles, pastas, all of these have made from flour, and genetically modified foods. When foods have been tampered with, they tend to cause a stress back on the body. We talked about the pesticides, foods laden with pesticides. They can cause adrenal gland fatigue. So what are some of the foods that we could increase? Your whole grains. Eat a whole food plant-based diet. You're looking for your whole grains, you're looking for your beans, white potatoes, sweet potatoes too will be even great. Almond butter, and then you have, or eat your almonds, garlic. You have, and remember that adrenal gland fatigue can also increase in your, reduce your immune system, therefore increasing your risk for infection. So utilizing garlic as a natural antibiotic can be helpful to your gut health and your immune system at the same time. Balance your blood sugar by eating protein and fat with every meal. For your breakfast, where are your beans? You're looking for your peas and beans in your breakfast. Even if you are having some sweet potato or some brown rice, we're looking to see your peas and your beans. Don't say you're eating sweet potato with tomato choka. Or for those who don't know what tomato choka is, it's chop up nice stew of tomatoes and a fruit. Where are the beans? Where is your protein in there to give you a nice balanced meal? So let's incorporate it. Get fiber as well as you're getting, remember your adrenal gland needs to be supportive for your proper metabolism, that which will give your body glucose enough to function well, to give you energy and so forth. And flaxseed. So we want to include flaxseed in our diet. 2 tablespoons of flaxseed. The flaxseed need to be blended in a coffee grinder, or if you put enough in your blender, dry blend it and break that seed to get the nutrition from it. You also have healthy fats, olive oil, coconut oil, avocados, nuts, seeds. Olive oil, eat the olives. Oil do not grow on trees, and therefore eat the coconuts. Coconut oil does not grow on trees. So use a more natural form. So a healthier form of fat, olive oil, coconut oil, they are still better than a vegetable oil, which has omega-6 fatty acids in it that can be very inflammatory to your system. However, we try to reduce oil as much as possible. If you had to choose an oil, you can use these if you had to use an oil, but really try to reduce oil intake, just the use of free oils in your diet. Then 1/4 cup of pumpkin seeds. So that's simply like a handful of pumpkin seeds daily or with breakfast, with lunch. You get great sources of magnesium and zinc. And if you had a need for more magnesium, a need for more zinc, a need for more potassium, and manganese and other things that you can get from the wonderful pumpkin seeds, then have it morning and evening. Men with your prostate, you need zinc. Our ladies with your hormones and your menopause, you need magnesium. So pumpkin seeds tend to help with that. Sunflower seeds are great as well. Selenium that you can get in Brazil nuts. That's like 3 Brazil nuts per day will give you adequate amount of selenium for your daily intake. Drink lemon juice first thing in the morning as a habit. You don't need to be unwell for this. You know, to keep a nice healthy liver and to cleanse your colon, a glass of warm water, very warm, with some lemon, a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of lemon juice in that can help you to have a good healthy liver daily. And it also tends to boost your immune system and to increase the intake of and uptake of iron from your food. Eat organic as much as possible, and even cooking with turmeric, again, to drive down inflammation. You want to have vegetables, lots of fruits and vegetables in your diet, and a variety of them. So your raw and steamed vegetables can be helpful. And then you can have your fresh fruits, a variety of fresh fruits that's available to you. Pineapple, you can have watermelon, bananas, apples, dragon fruit, all kinds of different types, papaya, whatever you have available. You next want to look at, okay, so question, can lemons be substituted with lime? If you're looking for vitamin C, fine. But for support to your liver, it's lemon. Lemon has a certain medicinal property within it that's different from lime. Okay. And when you're drinking your lemon water, it is important that you use a straw to drink it with to protect the enamel of your teeth. You don't want the enamel of your teeth to be eroded. Your dentist will know and will tell you, because they're going to see that thin enamel on that teeth surface, and they're going to be scared because you're looking to have sensitive teeth very soon. So don't drink your lemon just like that. Use a straw. Buy a lot of straws and use them. Or you can get the steel straws and use them. All right, so starchy foods. Foods to use moderately, because some of these things tend to be high in sugar levels, glucose levels. So your starchy foods, beets, carrots, parsnips, sweet potatoes, taro, white potatoes, yam, dasheen, eddos, green banana, plantain. The carbs in those tend to be converted into glucose. So you want to watch that, not to have too many of that. I see sometimes individuals would cook a pot of all varied types of ground provisions, and you have your peas and the vegetables and whatever, and the side, yeah, good. But when you have too many of these and you put all of that on the plate, you will increase the carbohydrates in that particular meal. So if you have 1 or 2, then good, but don't have the whole wide range of them. You might be smiling because you know that that happens in your home. All right, so corn grits, yam, honey, blackstrap molasses, pink Himalayan sea salt, great, but we use it all in moderation. Next, using pineapple is a nice item to help to keep your adrenal gland happy. So if you did something like a pina colada and you have like a half cup of fresh pineapple, and you chop that up. Then you have half cup of unsweetened coconut milk. And next you have 1 teaspoon of chia seeds. When you blend all these things together and then you just let it cool and you drink, it can be so delicious. And once you consume it, it's going to help you with your gut health as well as to keep your adrenal gland happy. So here you want to turn off the faucet with your lifestyle. So we look at our diet, let's look at our lifestyle, and then we wrap up with a few leaves, herbal leaves that are for the healing of the nation. So habits, stop stressing. Let's repeat, what do we say? Stop the stressing. Stop the fretting. Sometimes you literally need, instead of holding your head like this, hold your eyes, cover your eyes. You don't want to see some of the things that might cause you to be irritated. You don't want to hear some of the things that might cause you to be annoyed, because you cannot afford to be stressed, because it's causing you aches and pains, excessive weight, you know, and different things are happening, the dizziness and all of those things. You don't want to see, you don't want to hear, you just want to calm down. You just want to live a peaceful life. You know, folks, life is short. And you could be ranting and raving today, and then tomorrow a pain take you, you can't even speak loudly. So life is short. Let us choose our battles and choose not to stress. And let folks around you know, I'm not going to stress out over you, because you will kill me. No, all right? Whatever it might be that would motivate you to stop stressing, stop the stress. Don't worry. Jesus says, you know, to cast all your cares, cast all your worries and your burdens and everything, give it to me. He's strong, he could take it. And he said, I'm going to make your days lighter and going to make it happier. And, you know, when we stop stressing and worrying and talk to God more, not a complaining, but just talk to him about your situation and leave it with him. Literally give your cares to him. He makes your pathway seem so easy. Your days will be happier. The situations will just unfold and work themselves out, because he's in charge now, not you. And he has connections and 1,000 ways in which to do things. So high mental stress, excessive exercise. Now, even when some individuals have jobs that are stressful, and you may get to the point where if you find that you have certain conditions that's driven by the stress on this job, you need to have a conversation. You need to get someone else to help you do your task. It may be too much for you, or maybe you need to change your job and talk to the Lord about that and help you, because it's not going to be healthy in the long run. So exercise is wonderful, but there's something about you can be intemperate with your exercise and work out too hard, too much. So if you have to exercise, be moderate. You know, you want some little vigorous exercise, but you don't overdo. There are folks who would overdo this all day long. Prolonged fasting. Food is important and fasting is good, but we should not have our fast excessive, going over 3 days on a water fast. Maybe your body cannot take that. Or where individuals abstain from meals for excessive periods of time, every day, longer. Some folks, like, they space their meals out like 12 hours. That's not good. That's not healthy. It's not sustainable. You're going to get sick. And then, you know, you have it within shorter periods of time. So when we eat a breakfast, it's 5-6 hours later, you have your lunch meal. The body could work with that. But if you eat in the morning for breakfast, like 5 in the morning, and then your next meal is still 5 in the afternoon, that's not sustainable. We've seen where that causes problems. And so smoking, leave that out. The living on a fast track life, we don't want that because you're putting your body in a constant chronic state of stress. Going to sleep after 10 p.m. at night and coming down to just having 4 hours sleep, less than 6 hours sleep a night is not good. It's not healthy. It causes excess production of cortisol that can play itself out in problems. Use nice foods that are not in cans, but if you do need to use cans and plastic bottles, make sure that they're BPA free and avoid overeating. Oh, if you overeat, your stomach can only take care of so much work, and then you find if other foods remain taking a toll on your organs in your system. All right, so what do you keep? Relax at least 1 day a week, and if you're doing that now, praise the Lord, because it's saving you and helping you from so many things. Now, don't be abstaining from physical work and then you're taxed mentally on that 1 day off. We need to have a balance, and you need the rest. So relax at least 1 day a week. Get out in nature regularly. Do everything for you to live a stress-free life. If it is that you recognize this evening that there's some things that we have shared here, and that you may be impacted, and then you look at the causes and you say, but yeah, I could identify with this and with that, and maybe I do have adrenal gland fatigue, and you seek to correct it, you seek to correct it, it will make a difference. Stress is a big monster that's on our skin. You could leave here and go to the furthest end of the earth. Some people, they take it with them. So it's all there, and it's not something that you can really peel off. You got to literally throw it out of your head. It's in your head. It's in your mind. Got to throw it out of there. So seek to do whatever you can to live a stress-free life. And sometimes that means literally resigning yourself from the hustle and bustle. They're not everything that you will get done on your list, but it's okay because you will live. All right, so go to bed at the set time every night, which is before 10 p.m. at night. Seek to get at least 7 to 9 hours sleep nightly. Walk for at least 1 hour daily. It helps. It helps. Just do it and you would see improvement. Listen to relaxing musical, instrumental music. Breathe deeply every day as a practice, deep breathing. Seek to do a detox bath. Get into a tub of water, and for 20-30 minutes, you just soak in there in some Epsom salt. 1 cup of salt, Epsom salt. In that water, the magnesium and minerals just going to infuse into your body and help you to feel relaxed and ease pains and aches in your body. Get a massage to improve blood circulation and lymphatic flow. Then other habits, your fabric, wear natural fabric, which will not irritate your skin. Take off your shoes when you enter in the house to create a cleaner environment in your home. Open the windows of your home every day. What about our toothpaste and tooth powder? If it contains fluoride, that can be toxic to you. And therefore you want a fluoride-free toothpaste. Use natural mosquito repellent. Skin creams and deodorants, you want it to be more natural. Laugh, have fun, a great way of relieving stress. Laugh out loud and let it be a regular part of your life. Get your sunlight exposure. It is phenomenal. One of these good days coming up in the next month, we'll be talking about sunlight and its benefits and asking you to participate in our challenge for getting more sunlight. And so if you're a lighter skinned individual, you need between 15 to 30 minutes of sunlight daily. Adequate amount of sunlight is super important. And dark skinned individuals, at least 45 minutes to an hour and a half of sunlight daily between the hours of 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. Vitamin D3 as a supplement, taking about 5 1,000 international units daily can help you to get your levels back in range between 70 to 100. So what are the herbs? These are some suggestions as to what you can use to reduce adrenal gland fatigue. Whether you have all of these today or not, you can start with one or two. So you're looking at black cohosh to help reduce your adrenal gland fatigue. That tends to balance and regulate hormones. Licorice root, it's a natural steroid that tends to balance hormones as well, and even to calm down that firing of adrenal gland. It literally calms it down. Ashwagandha is a substitute for licorice that can calm down your adrenal glands. And sometimes when I'm stressed, I would use ashwagandha. If I know I'm immensely stressed, I would use licorice. But one of the things is that these things tend to make you so relaxed that you want to sleep. I remember the other day, I was just feeling so sleepy. And I was like, what's going on? Why am I this way? And then it dawned on me, you took some licorice repeatedly, back to back. So I had to stop because it was too much for my system. The ashwagandha works nicer for me. So licorice is good, ashwagandha good, bladderwrack, kelp, and golden seal, lobelia. And then you can add a tablespoon of ginger or cayenne. And if you mix that together, it can help to strengthen your adrenal gland. If you don't have everything here, at least you have most of it, you can work with this. And you want to mix all those ingredients together, bring it in a pot to boil for about 4 cups of water and simmer that for 15 minutes. It is going to be very strong. You want to drink 1/4 cup before noon each day. And that can help to calm your system down. All right, so Siberian ginseng is another. Do not use these items if you're pregnant, if you're hypertensive. Even licorice should not be used by someone who is pregnant or having high blood pressure. Ashwagandha would be better for you. And ashwagandha, again, tends to calm your system down. We use this all the time when we're stressed, and it just gives you calm. I have a friend, and she told me when she used ashwagandha, the things she used to fuss and fret about, she was no longer interested in fretting about them. Her whole outlook was just different, and she was so relaxed. Maca root allows for more efficient uptake of hormones into your cells. Honey goat weed, it's great for mental and physical fatigue. CoQ10 helps to produce energy from your cellular level, and therefore improving your gut health. Sometimes adrenal gland fatigue can take an impact on our gut, causing leaky gut. And betaine HCl with pepsin can help with that, a probiotic as well as a digestive enzyme. If you took that at the start of even lunchtime, just took one of each, that can help you. If you're severely with a leaky gut case over severe, you're not digesting your food well, and so forth, more digestive enzymes in the morning and at lunch, for betaine HCl with pepsin and probiotics. Sometimes people don't produce sufficient stomach acids, and so betaine HCl with pepsin tends to help them out with better digestion, especially of their peas and beans, if they're having problems with that to digest the food. And with that, it brings us to the end of our presentation. I was sort of like trying to wrap up within the hour. So, question time. Do you have any questions regarding what we have discussed here this evening? It's pretty simple, and but it's important for us to recognize the adrenal glands and appreciate them, that they too can be overworked, and it can play itself out in some of these health challenges that we have. So when you look back at the list of some of those symptoms, if those things are impacting you and you have more than one, it causes you to think, could I very well have adrenal gland fatigue? Nothing hurts to really incorporate some of those recommendations that we gave for diet, for lifestyle, and even like the Siberian ginseng or ashwagandha that can help you to be able to cope better with your stress and reduce the incidence of the play out. Okay, in the symptoms in your body. All right. So any questions? This one, Joan, you're asking for a repeat. All right, let me see. No questions. I'm looking at the chat. All right. So good. I think my question is, should we stay away from spelt flour? If spelt flour works well for you, then great. How would you know if it works well for you? Maybe you're perfectly well in health. You don't have any issues. You don't have any mucus buildup from your throat to your nostrils, food sensitivity, or it could be headaches or inflammation on the skin that might play itself out in some itchy skin. You know, what are your issues? So if you don't have anything going on for you, spelt flour can be okay. And but it's in here, especially for those who need to be on a gluten-free diet. They may not be able to, certainly not be able to tolerate wheat, and they may not be able to tolerate spelt. Sometimes you find that the same production area or packaging area for the wheat, there are other flours are being assembled in that same space, even oats. And it can contaminate the wheat. So that's why we would have spelt there. But if spelt works well for you so far, you have no issues with it, use your spelt. It's fine. Can menopause affect the adrenal gland, that you go into menopause? Yeah. Sometimes individuals go into menopause and they tend to be more anxious because it's a hormone response. And so it's your adrenal gland that can be driving off and these varied hormones. They're all part of the endocrine system. So be it your thyroid or your adrenal glands, you are moody, your adrenal gland. So on the back end, let's work on having a nice adrenal gland to work well for us. So menopause is that state of life that would cause you to have less estrogen, that would cause you to have a pause in your menstrual cycle. You're no longer having that. That's even driven by your endocrine system from your pituitary gland. So it's the adrenal gland being a part of that system can be supportive. So whether you're having conditions, menopausal conditions, or not yet, let's just continue to take care of the adrenals. And by extension, it will help. You find too that the very same things that are going to help the adrenals will help us with menopause. For example, we showed the pumpkin seeds, and that will be great magnesium for you. That will help you with your adrenal gland function as well, iodine and all the others. Okay. Should we stay away from all types of vinegar? Good question. So vinegar, what we would recommend vinegar for could be used topically. You have an itch, apply some vinegar there and it can help to ease it. A wasp can sting you. Get vinegar quickly and put it on, and it will prevent it from swelling and help to calm down that burning from the sting from the wasp. Vinegar can be used for fungal situations. So you have a nail that has fungus in it, be it on your fingers, on your toes, and you soak that in vinegar for about 20 minutes. It can help to take care of that. Vinegar can be used topically on surfaces for cleaning because it helps to take away and clean up bacteria and other kinds of microbes. So what does vinegar do with the human system on the inside? Vinegar tends to cause a disruption with your red blood cells and cause them to burst. And therefore, you don't have, you find that you can suffer iron deficiency because your red blood cells keep being depleted because of the vinegar found in your ketchup, salad dressing, the apple cider vinegar that you're intaking, or any of those, anywhere you see vinegar showing up. So vinegar, even apple cider vinegar, tends to have that. It can erode the dental enamel in your teeth. It can affect your bones by reducing the calcium phosphate in your bones and give you weak bones, porous bones. Vinegar does all those things to the system. Individuals may use vinegar to lose weight, to reduce cholesterol levels, but it doesn't mean to say it's not impacting the body in other ways. Therefore, we want to use something that's safer. Vinegar is also fermented, and it can cause fermentation to take place right there in the stomach, which is not a good place to have fermented items. Vinegar is even worse than alcohol. It's what we would say it's alcohol gone bad. Because for you to have something that's vinegar, like apples, or be it some form of cherries, or pomerac, monkey apple, whatever it might be, golden apple, vinegar, fermented item. It first needs to be fermented to wine, then have that fermented to alcohol, and ferment again to get into the vinegar state. So by the time you have vinegar, it's very much fermented. And when you put that on food and you consume it, you're putting in fermented food into your system, into your stomach. Right away, you have fermentation taking place in the stomach, wrong place, because you have certain microbes and bacteria now that should creep up its way into your stomach. You can end up getting something called SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And that can be problematic for you. So yes, we will stay away from all types of vinegar internally. If you want to use it externally, you can find ways to use that effectively. Question, I sleep for 4 to 5 hours and would just get up no matter if I go to sleep early and sometimes take a while to get back to sleep. What do I do? Bernadine, could you unmute your mic so that I can ask a question or two? Bernadine? Hi. If Bernadine unmute, we can ask, what time do you go to bed, Sister Bernadine?
Yes, sometime I go to bed around 10. If I go to bed early, I will go to sleep around 9, but the latest sometime around 11 o'clock. Yeah.
Okay.
For that
And
time.
what time is your last meal?
Around 8.
In the night?
Yes.
Okay.
Sometimes if it's earlier, it's just 7. Yes.
Okay. All right. So the thing is with the meals, when we have them late into the nighttime, so ideally your last meal should be anywhere like 6 o'clock in the evening. So by 6:30, you're finished. Any food that's eaten after 6:30 p.m. tends to disrupt the production of
Excuse,
melatonin.
even if I eat things sometimes
Like what? Okay. Your connection may have dropped a little because we're not hearing anything.
yeah, it come back now. Even if it's even if it's just cricks that I eat.
Yes.
Okay.
So you can reduce the production of melatonin, which is responsible for giving us that restful sleep. Another thing is whatever you would eat, you will trigger the digestive hormones to work Once your liver is activated, you find folks tend to wake up in the nighttime. So one, you're not having the sleep hormone well, and secondly, your liver being activated tends to wake you up in the night. And you can test this and do it different, do it right, and you will see the results turn out to be better. So you're eating after 6:30 into the nighttime, the liver gets activated and it's working, and that will wake up people, that wakes up individuals. So that can be one of your issues. Another thing is making sure that you get adequate amount of sunlight during the day. Sister Bernadine, do you get sunlight during the daytime every
Oh,
day?
yes, that one, yes, every day.
Well, wonderful. So let's see, and your lights are off, total dark bedroom.
Yes, yes, total darkness. Yeah.
And when you wake up in the nighttime, do you keep the lights off?
Yes. If
Do
I
you,
have to turn around, I use a small light. I don't like to put on the full light today.
and do you watch the time on your phone when you wake up?
Yes, I watch it to see what times I'm up. Yes.
So all that
Yes.
tends to stimulate the mind. And do you
Okay.
take off screen at least an hour before bedtime?
Yes.
Good. Yeah, so just watch the food intake, because what you're saying is that you will sleep for so long and then wake
Mhm.
up no matter what you do. So, and you certainly want to work with the before 10 p.m. to go to rest. And when you wake up, and as you know, try not to look at the time, because right away you start thinking how close is it to bed morning, or how far it is from morning. You're having thoughts. And
Yes, that's true.
yeah. So you have big conversation going on at night. The body is very respectful. It's going to allow you all that and not think about sleeping. So tell yourself, stay in bed, don't get up, don't, and you'll go back to sleep. But watch the food intake. Drink
Thank
water.
you.
Cold water will shut down that appetite in the nighttime, because it's important for you to get your rest.
Thank you.
Okay. So yes, the sessions have been recorded and will be shared. I have gluten-free organic oats from the Adventist brand 1 Degree. Is this okay to consume? I'm not sure how they prepare. If they said it's gluten-free, then let's take it for what it said. That means it's prepared and packaged in an environment that does not have wheat. All right, so that should be fine. Gioni is asking, that should be fine. All right, it appears that almost everything affects the adrenal gland. Am I correct to almost exclude that sometimes you may experience certain symptoms believing it's something severe? Yeah, when it very well can be the adrenal gland. Perfect, excellent observation. And therefore seek to support your adrenal gland. Like I mentioned, the spacing out of our meals, not to be excessively too far apart within the day. That's super important, because sometimes individuals, I know I see them, you have massive amounts of time between your breakfast and your lunch. And you're working and exerting energy. You may not be drinking adequate amount of water, and the body has to use the reserves. Start working, taking from your reserves, and that gets depleted over time. And your adrenals is what will keep driving you. So when you get into that state of adrenal fatigue because of the overwork, overtaxation, you feel sick, and your liver feels and everything, feels sick. So let's seek to correct, do things nice, be kind to ourselves, and eat on time. Eat your meals on time regularly. That's good. Yeah, leaky gut. When we say leaky gut, what do we mean? That's the topic for a whole other conversation. And we will address leaky gut at some point. Let me just quickly tell you, you got your colon, And it's basically where the walls of your colon should be nice and tight with all the cells making up the walls of your colon really tight. But sometimes because of too much medication, pesticide, chemical exposures, mold in your environment, and so forth, steroid use and all of those things can weaken the walls of your colon, and it starts to get little holes, little spacing, and stuff that should remain in your colon gets released out into your bloodstream. And that can trigger inflammation and cause varied kinds of sickness. So that's a leaky gut, and we have a topic on that we will present at some point soon. Good. Go back one slide on the recipe for the thing. This one. How much water should an adult be consuming daily? Very good. And how often should the average person urinate? Well, here at our center, we try to work for the ideal where we ask individuals to drink at least 12 8-ounce glasses of water daily. At least that. Just for our use of water by the body, for you to speak, for you to breathe, for you to urinate, and the normal use, you find that you can lose about 6 glasses of water, and that 8 ounces, 6 8-ounce glasses of water a day. You lose that. So you need to replenish that, and we double it. So we add 6 more. So at least 12 glasses of water daily we should look to take in. Water tends to help the stream of life to move along your blood. If your blood is stagnated, what does stagnated waters do? They harbor toxins, little microbes start to multiply, things tend to get sticky. It doesn't look good. So we want the blood to be flowing, and you want that water to help move along that river of life. So drinking that amount. Now, you will drink, get your bottle, and drink mouthfuls at a time. Take a drink. That's it. And you put it down. Have your bottle near to you. Get a big bottle. So here at the center, we get big bottles for the people, and we tell them, make sure they drink at least 3 of that a day. They drink more. And what they recognize is once they got into the habit of drinking more water, they just had a craving, a longing for more water. In addition to the activity, it's warm, and so they're exercising and perspiring a lot. So when you have to replenish that, and so you drink more water. Individuals who perspire a lot tend to also lose minerals and sodium and so forth. To make sure you're having your pink Himalayan sea salt back in, and that can help. So when you drink water mouthfuls at a time, you will also urinate periodically, maybe every 2 hours. And you gotta go because you don't want to weaken your bladder. In the morning when you wake up, some folks do it already. It's not just for sick people, it's for those who are well and want to maintain health. We mentioned about drinking the warm lemon water in the morning. So if you can't do lemon, you don't have lemons, just drink plain warm water. That tends to have, and that's as a bolus. You're drinking at least 2 to 4 glasses of plain warm water. You can add lemon to that. But when you do that, it's like you have a drain that you need to clean, and you take a bucket of water and you throw it down at the drain. You drink your early morning water as a bolus, just drink it down, and it's going to help cleanse. I say it's like an internal shower. And then in the daytime, you take your water and you drink mouthfuls. When you drink that early morning as a bolus, you're running to the bathroom to empty your bowels and your bladder, and you feel good. You feel lighter, you feel happy, and everything. You know, folks who have constipation tend to feel more fatigue. Yeah. And they have body odors and they feel upset and they feel sick and all kinds of things. And all they need to do is to cleanse that bowel. So in the morning, lemon tends to stimulate the colon. The warmth will cause your colon to expand. The water is going to lubricate everything and bring it out. So you've got that. And then during the day, you drink mouthfuls at a time. Not too close to your meal. You don't want to wash down your meal. And if you had to drink this nice pina colada, you drink it at the start of your mealtime. Drink first, eat after. And in that way, you will have good digestion. You drink first, leave 15 minutes space because of all this water, your diluted gastric juices. Let's work it back. Pineapple is great for enzymes to help with digestion. Bromelain reduces inflammation and pain. And then you find that, and even good for gut health, coconut too. And chia seeds, when we do chia pudding, and you can have a nice big bowl of chia pudding, that just sends all your colon emptying out. So all of these things are great, even for helping with gut health and gut repair. So during the daytime, as you drink your water mouthfuls at a time, you will hydrate your system. And that will help you not to go to the toilet too frequently. I would go out and I'll carry a bottle of water with me and I will drink, but I would have no need to run to the bathrooms because it's little mouthful at a time. When you get home, you have larger portions. And in that way, you're able to manage your urinary output. All right, what could cause plenty burping? Okay, our questions, let's see. How much water? Okay. Seems like the last one. So burping, excessive amount of burping can be a gut issue. You're looking at the whole digestive tract, from the mouth to the anus. And gas wants to move somewhere. So either it's going to move up or it's going to move down. So literally, you find that it is a digestive tract issue. Sometimes it could be small intestinal bacteria overgrowth, or fungal overgrowth in your small intestines. That's closer more to the upper portion. So what we tend to do for that is really try to calm the system down. Sometimes you have excessive burping being triggered by some traumatic event in the life. And then literally when you sit with folks and you question them, some incident happened. And then the burping began. So it will mean to address that stressor. And sometimes it's something that they can correct easily with a stressor once you identify, or it might be a stressor that's really deep-seated, hidden, with sometimes the loss of a relative, and then they just start up. But it's really spasms within the system, and using things that are calming tends to help. And when we have that, we tend to use a lot of calming agents to try to alleviate the situation. But literally helping the person to cope with stress is part of that recommendation. And then it can be eased up. But addressing their gut health, because their system will be impacted over the time, and addressing the gut health helps. Okay, so thank you, everyone. You've been an awesome audience, and thank you for your participation, for staying on with us. We've been way over time, and for your questions and your interest. And we do look forward to meeting with you at our next AHPA meeting, which will be later in the month of September. And to our AHPA Tobago chapter, Dr. Ainsley Waldron, I don't know if you can know the topic yet as to what the folks can look forward to, but if you'd like to say a hello, I don't know if Dave Simon is here with us. Yes, Brother Simon, you're here. I'd love to hear your voice.
Yes, hi. Hi,
Hi.
Natalie. Thank
Hello.
you very much for your topic this week. All right, for the next topic at the end of September, we are going to have something on maternity. So we're going to have a maternity experience dealing with postnatal care brought to us by a midwife from TRHA. Right, so we're looking at postnatal care in our next meeting.
Okay. All right. That's
Great,
wonderful. Hi,
great
Bryson.
presentation, Natalie. I
Hi.
really enjoyed it tremendously.
Yes, praise the Lord. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. And we do look forward to our next presentation. Amazingly, just last week I was speaking to someone who shared, that a lot of women run away from breastfeeding. And I was like, no way, that's the life of the poor little baby. So we need to learn about how best to take care of the young ones. Great, we're looking forward to that. And therefore, let me just end the recording here.